Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I thought I would go through the books that I read during my hiatus. I only made like a few videos while I was gone and they were only TBR videos, so I haven't discussed any of the books that I've read since my February wrap up. So that means I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read from March and all the way through June, because it is now July. But you'd be surprised, I actually didn't read as many books as I would have liked. During the month of May, I read one book. I was in just this major reading slump, so I didn't read a lot. So I thought it would be fun if I went through, talked about all the books that I read, but also ranked them from the worst book that I read to the best one that I've read. So I read a total of 17 books during these few months here, and let's get into it, starting with the worst one that I've read. So coming in at number 17 is a 1-star read, my only 1-star read actually, and it is Faithless by Brian Azzarello, something like that. But this is a graphic novel that is just so weird. I don't mind weird things. In fact, I love out-of-the-box books, but this one just really, I didn't get the plot. I didn't understand it at all. It has a lot to do with sexuality, hence this cover. I don't mind that in the slightest. However, there was no really like plot to go with it. There has to be a plot in order for me to like it. But I will say the artwork is quite beautiful. I can't really show it to you because there's nudity in here and quite a, oh my god, I can't even, okay, here's one that's like not nudity, but it's quite nice. The artwork is quite nice, but it wasn't enough to save this book for me. So eventually I'm going to get rid of this, but I just didn't like the plot at all. I'm not going to continue on with this series. Number 16 is a 2-star read for me, and I actually don't have the book anymore. I tried to find it. Maybe it's in this chaotic mess here, but it is To Loathe and To Love by Martha Waters. This is a Regency era romance that was just pretty boring for me. I gave it 2 stars. I'm pretty sure I already said that, but I gave it 2 stars. I didn't care for any of the characters. I just didn't really care for the plot either. It was supposed to be like enemies to lovers / friends to lovers, and I just wasn't feeling the romantic relationship between the two main characters. Another thing that I was like really mad about is the main character pretty much outed somebody. There's a woman in there who is either bisexual or lesbian, but they don't have those terms in the Regency era, but she likes women, and the main character kind of like forces her to say that, even though the main character in a way was trying to get her to admit to something else. She didn't actually know that she was gay, but I still didn't like that. That made me cringe so much, that you're like putting so much pressure on this person. Like, don't force people to tell you their secrets. If it's not harming anybody, that's for them to say. And it ended up being that she outed herself to the main character, which really I did not like. Luckily, the main character was very understanding and is okay with this woman being the way that she is and who she is, but I just didn't like the way that it went about it. So I gave this book 2 out of 5 stars. I probably won't go into any more books by this author. I just didn't really like the writing style, and I didn't like how it went about. So this one was number 16 for me. Number 15 is The Expert System's Brother by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Actually, this month I'm reading its sequel. This one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars because I did quite enjoy it. There just was like a little something missing. This is a science fiction novella following this main character. His name is Handry, and he is kind of forced out of his hometown, his area, the village that he lives in, because of who he is and what he is. They need like healthy people there, and he becomes not so they had to kick him out, but there's more to it than just that. He kind of travels the planet that he's on, just working here and there at villages until he finds who he's meant to be and the place that he belongs in. So this was just a really short science fiction novella. I actually listened to it on audiobook, and I do recommend the audiobook. It flew by for me, and I like the narrator, so I really did enjoy this one. Even though it's now at the bottom of my list, the rest of the books here on out are all going to be 3 stars and above, which is fabulous. But yeah, this one, just a little something was lacking. Maybe it was because it is a novella. Sometimes novellas for me are harder to enjoy sometimes, because you want to get the full world and full grasp of the world and the development of it, but sometimes that's not possible in a short little novella. It takes a lot to be able to do that, for an author to be able to grab your attention and hold it for such a short amount of time. So this one is number 15, but I do highly recommend it. I think number 14 is going to surprise a lot of people because it is very popular on BookTube and Book Twitter, as well as Book Talk. It is A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. This is actually my second book that I've read by Elise Kova. The first one was something that was like a high fantasy novel that I did quite enjoy, but this one is a fantasy romance, and it follows this young woman who lives in a village where every 100 years, I believe it is, a woman is taken from her village to become the bride and become the queen to be with the Elf King, and she ends up being chosen. It is her role as queen to heal the kingdom of where the elves live and to provide them with good crops and good weather and things like that, using the magic that she has. She didn't know that she had this ability. It was hidden from her for quite a while. So this is surprising to her that she is chosen. And once there, obviously, the romance ensues. I just didn't really like the writing style of this, although I did like the romantic relationship between the main characters here on the cover. Plus, this cover is just gorgeous. It's just beautiful. But I just didn't really like the writing style. Sometimes it felt a little juvenile to me, whereas this probably is a new adult novel. It might be in the adult field. It's not YA, though, because there are some sex scenes and just mature content in it, but I just was not feeling some of the writing of it, so that's why I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I still enjoyed it for the story, but there were some parts where I was just like, come on, we already know this, why isn't the main character thinking of that kind of thing. I did still enjoy this, and if you like fantasy romance, this might be for you. I just wasn't feeling it. I probably won't be reading any more of this kind of world. I think this is a standalone, but there is going to be more in this world probably, but maybe I will. I don't know. If I'm feeling it, maybe, but this is a 3-star read for me. Number 13 is another 3-star read. It is a graphic novel called Thornhill by Pam Smye. This is actually quite enjoyable. The only reason why it's so far down on the list is because I think there could have been more to it, but this was just such a creepy middle grade graphic novel. I'll show you some of these pictures and these images and stuff. Look at these dolls. That's just creepy. But you'll get something like this where it's a full page illustration, and then you'll just have a few pages of actual text. But it follows this young girl who moves in next door to this abandoned building that used to be a orphanage for children, and this girl moves in next door, and she continuously sees a figure in the window as well as in the gardens and things like that, but the point of view switches between the modern day little girl and the girl from the past, which is this one right here, and the modern day girl is actually reading this girl's journal. So that's what you're getting from this. You're getting the story of the little girl in the past through her journals. So June 24th, 1982 is there, and then everything that happened to her. But it was pretty creepy. This whole illustration is just creepy. But I did enjoy it. I really was freaked out the entire time that I was reading this. I kept having like this chill, like the, you know, the goosebumps on, and then the hair on the back of your neck kind of stands up. It was just creepy and strange. But I think I'm going to check out more of this author's work. I don't know if she's written anymore, but when she does, I think it's a woman. But when they do, I would love to check more of it out, because the illustration and the storyline and the way it was done was just so beautiful to me, and it did freak me out, which I think that's what it was aiming for. So yeah, I do recommend this, even though, like I said, it is kind of lower on my list. But yeah, I did still enjoy this. Next, we have another 3-star read that I actually read on ebook, and it is Barbarian Alien by Ruby Dixon. This is the second book in the like Ice Planet Barbarians series, and guys, I'm loving this series. There's like not really a great plot. There is some plot, but not a great plot in it, and it's all just about blue alien dick, and I'm here for that. I'm loving it so very, very much. I just thoroughly enjoy each and every one that I've read so far. I've read 3 of them so far, and they make me laugh. They are just so enjoyable. They're so, like, readable. You want to pick it up and read it. And they're also super short. They're, like, novella-sized. So you could really fly through them if you wanted. But I'm enjoying it. This is actually the second one. So you're going to be seeing the first one further up on this list. Not gonna lie, it's up there. But I do enjoy this series. I highly recommend it if you love, like, science fiction, romance type deal, erotica. It's there. Everything's there. I loved it. It got me out of a reading slump. Number 11 is Infinity Court by Akemi Dawn Bowman. This is a young adult science fiction novel / maybe a little bit of fantasy in there. This is a 4-star read for me. I read it, I actually listened to it on audiobook and then also read along while listening to it, and I did quite enjoy it. I'm not sure if I want to continue on with this series, just because I have other, you know, series going on and things like that. This one recently came out in April, but it follows a young girl who dies, and she wakes up, her consciousness actually wakes up in this world that is kind of run by this AI that she knew on Earth. And she didn't know that this AI was evil. But there are these other spirits there that are trying to break free of this the AI's control and kind of move on into the afterlife type deal and make this afterlife safe for other souls that will eventually come in. So there's some action in this. There's the classic YA, like, romance trope in it, although there is a plot twist towards the end that I did not see coming, and actually quite shocked me. I do recommend it if you like science fiction, YA especially. There are all the classic tropes in there, so be warned of that if you don't like the classic tropes, but I did still really enjoy this one. Again, I gave it 4 stars. Next, we're going to do a double whammy here. We have Binti, The Night Masquerade, and Binti Home, 9 and 10. I don't know which one I liked more, but both of them are 5 stars. These are by Nnedi Okorafor. These are science fiction novellas, the second and third one in the trilogy, and I really enjoyed these. I can't go into too much detail because these are the second and third ones. However, I did really love how it ended. This series is about a young woman who becomes the first of her village and her people to enter into this school that is in outer space, and on the way there, her ship is attacked by these jellyfish-like creature things, and she becomes, like, bonded to them and just becomes this bridge between all these different types of people. So it was really about her self-discovery, her journey, and learning who she is and being different, and I loved it so much. I loved how it ended. I highly recommend this series. Number 8, we have Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. I don't know if I actually talked about this before. I thought I was doing a reading vlog for it at one point and then it never happened, but this is a YA fantasy. gave it 4 stars. This is my first Victoria Aveyard book. I quite enjoyed this one. It is a chunky one, that is for sure, but it follows this young woman, actually follows a group of characters, and in this group of characters there is this young woman who realizes quickly that she is the chosen one, basically, and is going to save the world. Classic YA fantasy right there. But what is not so classic about this is the people that surround her and are on this journey with her, one of them being a 30-year-old woman. I never see that in YA fantasies. Usually it's always like all 18, 19, 17-year-olds going on this epic journey and they're supposed to save the world. No, there are a variety of ages, a variety of genders following her and protecting her and saving the world together, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought it was very different for a YA fantasy, and that is why it is number 8 on my list. But I did really enjoy this. Highly, highly recommend. I don't know if I want to check out the Red Queen series. Let me know if I should. I've heard mixed things about that, but let me know because I did really enjoy this one. Number 7 is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon McGuire. This is a middle grade fantasy novel that I really, really enjoyed. It follows this young 12-year-old girl who is whisked away into this world of elves. I think they call themselves fae or elves, something like that, and she learns that she is actually one of them and has this ability that none of them has, and it's just that classic, like, middle grade, kind of whisked away, you have powers that you don't understand, you are the chosen one type deal. So even though that's kind of classic in these, I really enjoyed it. I liked the message that it was giving. The main character was really cute, and this is middle grade, so don't go into it expecting like super mature stuff going on. This is middle grade, and some of the things are a bit easier to understand and like piece together, but it is meant for middle grade readers, so you have to take that with a grain of salt and just go with it. But I still enjoyed it. I can't wait to dive into the rest of the series. I waited too long to read this, quite honestly. But yeah, all the rest of them, they progressively get bigger. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I did really enjoy this one. I think it's perfect for any middle grade reader, any young reader who wants to get into fantasy. This is perfect for them. They have a lot of action and adventure in it, lots of magic, and lots of great characters that you can read from. So I do really, really recommend this one. Next we have number 6 here, A Spindle Splintered by Alex E. Harrow. This is another 4-star read for me. This one does come out in October, I'm pretty sure, but this is a novella from Tor.com, and I really, really enjoyed it. This is a Sleeping Beauty retelling following the main character who is turning 21, and on her 21st birthday, her best friend throws her this great party, and she pricks her finger on a spindle and is whisked away into this other world. The main character is terminally ill and has always connected with Sleeping Beauty, unable to escape her past, fallen into a deep sleep, or dying, things like that, and she just connects with that character, and when she pricks her finger, she is whisked away to another world where there is another Sleeping Beauty there who is unable to escape her fate. So while there, she is also going to come across other Sleeping Beauty characters who are just trying to escape that feeling of doom and to get past everything that's going on. So this, I really enjoyed it. I loved the ending in particular. I thought it was a really good turning point for this main character, and I highly recommend you check it out when it comes out in October, because I really enjoyed it. I think it was a fabulous retelling. Alright, number 5, guys. Can you believe that this novel is now in the top 5 of this series right now? It is Planet Barbarians, book 1 by Ruby Dixon. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Yes, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I freaking loved it. Everything that I talked about with the second book, I have to say with this one, except I liked these characters a bit more in the first one. I don't think I actually ever talked about what the series is about, but the series is about this group of women who are abducted by aliens from Earth, and are kind of held captive and prisoner, but don't worry, because the ones who captured them are not the ice planet barbarians, are not the big blue aliens that we have loved. It's not them. They were taken by another race of aliens. These women crash land onto this icy planet where the blue aliens are. And on this planet, these blue aliens have this like symbiotic relationship with a thing that inhabits their body that causes them to basically have a mate. So if you don't like the mating thing, this isn't for you, because that's exactly what happens. A lot of these women end up being mates for these beautiful blue aliens with tails and horns and ridges all over the place. But it's fabulous. Love it so much. If you like erotic science fiction, read this. Next is number 4, which is another 4-star read. It is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the 3rd book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. Yeah, trilogy, because there are 3 of them. But I really enjoyed this one. It follows Eve, who is just a mess. She ends up falling for this owner of a bed and breakfast who is very like set in his ways, and I just think their relationship is just so cute. I just loved reading it. I had a smile on my face the entire time. I love Talia Hibbert's writing so much, so I really enjoyed reading this one. Number 3 is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. This was another 4-star read. This is a romance that originally I thought it was like a fantasy romance, just because of like the way that the images are set and the way that this world, this kingdom is described. However, there's no magic in it, so I don't really know what you would really call it. Maybe just a romance with a great setting. But I loved this book. I loved the main characters. The main woman character is trained from a very young age with a lot of her sisters to become this killing machine, basically. One of her sisters is going to be chosen to be a peace bride, basically, to this kingdom, the Bridge Kingdom, with this lovely man character, Aaron, here. He's great. She ends up being the bride, and it is her goal to kill this guy and get all the information that she can about this kingdom in order for her people to take the kingdom. But obviously she falls in love with the guy. Everything is not as it seems, and she learns from that. But I love the relationship. There's like really cute moments of like him saving her and her saving him and things like that, and I just quite enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read the second one, which is already out, so I really need to get that. I think it's like The Traitor Queen or something like that, but I did enjoy this. I love the main characters so much, and I have a new crush, that's for sure. Number 2, I don't actually have the book with me because I think I read an arc of it and now I don't have it anymore, but it is The Chestnut Man by Soren Sveistrup, possibly is how you pronounce his name. But this is a adult mystery thriller that I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I listened to an audiobook, and I do recommend the audiobook. I thought it was spectacular, really well done. There, I think, are 2 narrators, if I remember correctly, because I've read this one. This was one of the early ones that I read. 2 narrators. I think there's a man and a woman for both parts. I won't go into too much detail because this is a mystery, so I know a lot of people don't really like to know all the details. I will say that it was very creepy, and there are some gruesome descriptions in this, so if you can't really deal with the gruesome, gory things, maybe not for you, but I still enjoyed the process of it. I liked how everything ended up, and I was very shocked at the ending. I will say that. I do recommend this if you are looking for a creepy mystery thriller, and this might actually be a perfect one to read in October for Halloween, so recommend this one for sure. Number 1, my only 5-star read that I read out of all of these is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides, something like that, Michaelides. This is another mystery, actually, and I don't have my copy here because I lent it out to somebody because I think everybody should read this. This is probably my new favorite mystery of all time, so much so that I immediately went out and bought his first novel, The Silent Patient, which I haven't read yet, but I'm very excited to. From what I can tell, though, there is a slight connection between the Silent Patient and the Maidens, only slightly, just through character. You don't need to have read the other one before reading the Maidens, or vice versa, or anything like that. I will just mention that if you like the Silent Patient, then you'll probably love the Maidens. But I just loved Alex's writing style. I love how he wove everything together, from the plot to the main character's past to how it incorporates into the present. I loved it so much, and I was just shocked at what happened in the end. I could not believe it, did not see it coming whatsoever. I highly recommend this novel. I think everybody should read it, especially if you love mystery. So, new favorite, all-time favorite for sure, probably one of my favorite books of the year so far. So there you have it, everyone. Those were the 17 books that I've read during my hiatus, as well as how I rank them. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun YouTube stuff, and I will see you all next time. Bye!